everyone, Namaste. I am sure you would be having a beautiful Sunday afternoon and planned up with beautiful plans for Sunday evening. But why? Why am I here on this Sunday and what am I making this vlog for? Now, this entire week was full of festivals, Lori, Pongal, Makar Sankranti, and I'm damn sure you must have celebrated it well with your family, exchanging gifts and lots of love. I had posted 2 blogs on my page regarding the importance of the festivals, what is the correct way of celebrating it, and why it should be carried forward with the major motive of saving our culture and tradition and to be carrying it forward. Fine, what is my this vlog for? I always think we are being adapted to Western culture, we are being more influenced by it. There is no harm, you can. But why not also take forward our Indian tradition? Is it wrong? Our tradition is absolutely correct. Are we doing anything wrong by celebrating it? No. Then why aren't we preserving it? Why is it fading day by day? This is what I want you all to think on. I had written few lines. It's a poetry and it's like a more of historical information about our past regarding our art, architecture, culture and why it should be preserved. So here I am, not to lecture anything but to read out that poem to you. So here I begin and I just hope that you people love it. The Indian subcontinent and her diverse physical features influenced her dynamic history, religion and culture. The fertile basin of Sapta Sindhu rivers cradled one of world's most ancient civilization. 7 rivers, contemporary to the Sumerians and Egyptians, popularly known as the Indus Valley Civilization. You must have studied in school. The Sindhu, that is also known as Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj and Beas, along with the sacred river of Saraswati, shaped India's early history, where once flourished the urban settlements of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, which lay buried for several centuries. For our archaeologists and scholars to unravel their many secrets and hidden mysteries, modern scholars refer to it as the Indus-Saraswati civilization. By interpreting the text of the Rig Veda, which mentions eclipses, equinoxes and other astronomical conjunctions, they date the origin of the Vedas as early as the 3000 BC, thereby lifting the fog which shrouds ancient history. On the banks of the sacred Saraswati river, the holy sages did once meditate. When their third eye opened, as all earthly bounds they did transcend. From their lips flowed the sacred chants of the Vedas as they sang the Creator Brahma's unending praise. These Vedic chants and incantations survived many centuries of an oral tradition. When Indian art began to blossom into exotic flowers like Brahma's divine manifestations, with all subsequent art forms following the models of Brahma's manifold creations. The Vedas got written down during the later Vedic period with commentaries and interpolations and remain as India's indigenous composition, forming a part of her sacred religious tradition. Now, after this was where we were well settled, well versed, we were not educated but we could invent many. Then came the foreign invasions. Don't you think still somewhere we are independent but still controlled by them because we adapt things from them? But yes, we are having our own identity now. So let's be encouraged. Let's talk about that phase, impact of foreign invasions. Through the winding Khyber Pass, cutting through the rugged Hindu Kush range, came the Persians, Greeks, Muslims and Mughals and many bounty hunters storming through northwestern frontier gate. Consisting of varied racial groups and cultures, they entered India's fertile alluvial plains. Therefore, by tracing 5,000 years of art story, one cannot divorce India's art from India's exotic cultural history. From the cave art of Bhimbetka to the dancing girl of Harappa, to the frescoes and evocative figures of Ajanta and Ellora, and many marvelous and exquisitely carved temples of the south, and Muslim and Mughal architecture and frescoes, along with the India's folk art, enriched her artistic heritage, no doubt. Yet, for a long time, Indian art had been the least known of the Oriental art, perhaps because from Western point of view it was difficult to understand the spirit behind Indian art. Yes, no one can understand. For Indian art is only one aesthetic and sensual, also passionate, symbolic and spiritual. It both celebrates and denies the individual's love of life where free instinct with rigid reason combine. These contradictory elements are found side to side due to her culturally mixed conditions as I had earlier mentioned. Now, if we add to this the constant religious exaltation with the extensive use of symbolic presentation from the early days of Indian civilization, we have the basic element of an art which has gradually aroused the interest of Western civilization. The further we get back in time to only find that religion, philosophy, art, and architecture all had to be merged into an unified whole to form India's composite culture. But while moving forward in time, we once find again the art, architecture, music, poetry, and dance all begin to gradually emerge with their separate identities when Indian art is seen as rich mosaic of cultural diversity. So let's keep their identities separately strong and not adopt other cultures and diminish ours as they aren't going to do the same, and let's keep our country strong and rich mosaic of cultural diversity. I hope this must have aroused some realization into you all. सोच फाउंडेशन एक नादान जिंदगी के लिए by Parita Kachalia, an aspiring teacher from Mumbai. Namaste. Thank you.